Hey, say it's a merry way day, up the way.
Because movies are open to everything, that you can do it. But when you start to interplay with the characters and you learn it, especially if it's a movie that is heavy with dialogue and intricate speeches and scenes, I think you assimilate it much better if you take time. And the next day, and it's always you work, and it's 3 days later before something starts to just you put it in, and then it stays there, somehow comes out, and then the freedom. I think the freedom comes with rehearsing. I think that's why I like the theater, because the longer I'm in a play, the more freedom I get as I learn it, and more interested in trying new things coming.
Did you rehearse the effects of horse tranquilizers on human beings? Or was that improvised? How did that come?
Well, I don't even ride a horse. I don't know how that connects. But I do know that I've been high before. I just went there. And you don't have to do much if you're in a scene with Dan Hedaya and Diane Weiss, because in that scene they just, she's the most amazing. I did play Oedipus with her. She played my mom, Oedipus.
There was one other scene that really stuck out, which is towards the beginning when you're in the institution and you're in that group and you start talking about losing your craft.
Yes.
And it's so priceless, and I feel like you could have gone through that 100 different ways, because you just see that guy like deciding how to act this out as he's saying it.
Yeah.
Did you try a lot of variations there?
I'm sure I did. The memory is, let me go back there. Let me see. That was last year. Yeah, I would imagine I did. With Barry, he does, I tried different things. I worked on that a long time. I thought about it. The thing that strikes me, it's much more obvious with athletes. When you're an athlete, you sort of start to figure it out after a while, because your reflexes start to go. Like they say, first your knees go, then your money goes, then your friends go. That's the old, athlete story. Well, here with actors, it's a little different. But there are tools that start to wither, and in the whole deterioration process, and they're very, and especially an actor like this who's on the stage, he's doing these rigorous roles that require, and they're strenuous, and you need stamina, and because you can't just walk through King Lear, it's not a walk-through kind of role. So they really wear and tear you. If you ever saw the movie The Dress-Up, have you ever seen The Dress-Up? Albert Finney, fantastic. And he plays an actor and is now approaching 50, maybe at the time in his 50s, in the 30s. So he comes from the old school of actors who went out there sometimes doing 2 or 3 Shakespearean roles in a day, okay? And you could feel the exhaustion that is very narrow in the scene there when he dies. And it's magnificent, just genius acting. But you really feel the exhaustion of the acting. And I understand that. I understand that the repeats, it gets, the theater is even more tiring than film. And because once you go, you just have to go. And you have to hit notes. It's almost like opera, especially in Shakespeare. And those roles demand a lot from you. And you get in there, and it wears and tears. And now with our guy Simon here, the memory goes too. And I've heard some stories about some actors we know and will remain nameless who are right now going through that. And they're not very old either, where the memory won't grip it. It just won't hold it. And so that's tragic. Because again, this is what we do. This is not just our living, it's our vocation, and it's our, our spirit. And so when that starts to go, and it will go, if you last long enough, and so that's those are the tools of an actor. I think Simon is losing his memory, and part of his memory and his confidence is going, right? So what he does in a way is feels it through, because in the book, Philip Roth writes about this actor going through withdrawal and falling out and unable, but he's turned off acting. He's lost his talent, so to speak. He's lost mainly he's lost his desire. And I don't think that's quite the same thing as an actor. That's writer's block. There's a certain thing with writer's block. So Philip Roth's coming from that place. So we have to find a way to say, what are the things that would get an actor? Because it's terribly frightening. I can't think of anything more frightening in terms of, not, there's realistic stuff that can be real scary, but I mean stuff like being on stage and not knowing your words in front of everybody and being unsure of how you're going to operate. There's something about that is indescribable. I had it once, but I had it interestingly. I was doing Shakespeare play again. It's not that I just forget my words to Shakespeare, because I was doing American Buffalo for a while. I was doing it for a year and a half. I came on stage, and the first opening lines are fucking Ruthie. Fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie. Story, baby. Now, can you imagine what my fellow actors doing this with me for a year and a half is thinking? He's saying, what happened? Where's this line? And I'm up there thinking, what the fuck do I say? You imagine that, a year and a half, you're never safe, in other words. Finally, somehow, he said something and got me back. Well, maybe I threw those 8 lines of Shakespeare. So I'm on stage and I'm doing a scene, a big monologue from Shakespeare. And I'm talking away. And it was 8 shows a week, right? So I just did a matinee at 3 o'clock. It's now 7 o'clock. I was doing the speech a couple of hours ago. And I'm doing it again. And I'm doing this big speech, and I'm tired. And I'm thinking, this is long ago, God. This is, 20 years ago. I was younger. And I'm thinking, God, doing this thing, I seem to be repeating myself. So I thought that I was repeating each line I was saying. So I'd say a line, blah, 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 and then I would say it again, blah, 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 blah. I thought, oh my, the audience is looking at me as though they're sympathetic. They're worried about me, but they're sympathetic. They want me to finish. Because they think I'm losing my mind, of course, and they're going to help me. And I'm thinking all these things. You're really being kind, because they know I'm having a hard time. Wasn't true. I was saying everything straight, rather poorly, I might add. But I also was tired, and these kinds of things happen to you on stage. So, and then you don't want to ever lose your voice, because that's hard. Imagine you're feeling it all, and you have to sort of censor yourself because you've lost your voice. So I think this is what happens with Simon as the tools of his craft start to deteriorate. He goes in the direction of, I don't want to be this. I want to have a new life. I can be live again. I can try it again. Because a lot of this too is missed opportunities, in life. And in a way, what really tickled me when I first read the book was the idea of an actor wanting to become a human being. It just seems like, that's an oxymoron.